As a member of the Foundation's Scientific Advisory Committee, I'm committed to serve as a volunteer for the greater brain tumor community in Australia. And as you know, brain tumors are incredibly rare, but they have an incredible impact on both young and older patients all over the world, including Australia. So when I was asked to join the CBCF Scientific Advisory Committee, I immediately jumped at the opportunity to work together with brain cancer specialists in Australia to bring sort of stability and also transparency to the process within the foundation in terms of advocacy and funding of research. There's obviously amazing research that's ongoing in Australia, not only to better understand the biology of brain tumors, but to develop novel therapies, and also to provide better sort of treatments and supportive care for patients who are, really affected by some of the neurological complications of the cancer. So, as part of the Scientific Advisory Committee, I'm able to really kind of promote these research efforts, both locally, but also importantly in the broader context of ongoing research that's going on across the world. And certainly in collaboration with the CBCF, we're able to promote the inclusion of Australia in ongoing international clinical trials, for example, and in that way bring new therapies to patients with brain tumors. Yeah, so I've been taking care of brain tumor patients for almost 20 years now, and I find that I'm really inspired to find a cure for all of my personal patients, but also their families and their caregivers that have been so dramatically impacted by the diagnosis of a brain tumor. I'm really driven to find better treatments. I think that's incredibly important as we move forward. But I think it's also important to recognize that the tumor, as well as its treatment, can have pretty dramatic side effects on the patient. And it's really important that we better understand the impact of our treatments on the brain and on neurologic function, and then we pay equal attention to finding ways to mitigate some of those side effects. Yeah, so there's an incredible amount of ongoing research to find better treatments for primary brain tumors. And you mentioned some really important areas, including targeted therapies and anti-angiogenic therapies. But there's a lot of interest now in bringing immunotherapy approaches to the treatment for brain tumors. Immunotherapies are sort of collectively, drugs or approaches that are designed to enhance the body's immune system to fight cancer. And this works incredibly well for some tumor types, but it's not been an area where there has been real clear success in brain tumor patients. That being said, there have been a couple of studies, of which I've been really fortunate to be a part of, where we use what is called a neoadjuvant approach with immunotherapy. And that's to say that the drug treatment or other types of immunotherapies are given to the patient prior to going to surgery. And in doing so, this sort of 1-2 approach allows the immune system to have a better impact on the tumor itself. And we've been able to demonstrate that using this approach, there actually could be improvements in outcomes for patients. I think this is just the very beginning stages of this really exciting approach. And now we're developing multiple new clinical trials where we're looking at immunotherapies such as vaccines, as well as cell therapies. And then as I was alluding to, also some of these other therapies that are approved for other types of tumors, such as checkpoint inhibitors. So although we have a long way to go, I think there's some real exciting approaches that are coming to the forefront and will hopefully lead to better outcomes for our patients. Yeah, so I think the future of brain cancer research is really very bright. I think, as I was discussing, there are a lot of challenges to the treatment of brain tumors, but we really have identified, I think, a couple of Achilles heels where we might be able to make dramatic inroads into developing better treatments. Sort of in a parallel ongoing effort, I'm also really incredibly excited about the clinical trial that's been called GBM Agile. And you may have heard about this. This is a platform study that's using a Bayesian adaptive design where multiple agents can be evaluated simultaneously. And this is really important because we need to really move quickly, and we need to identify drugs that work. And then we also need to identify drugs that don't work so that we can move on and continue, looking for better treatments. So this particular trial really allows for the most promising agents to move forward faster. And if there is actually a signal of efficacy in that study, we can then move that drug into more of a phase 3 type of clinical scenario where the drug could actually get regulatory approval in a very rapid fashion. So this is a really wonderful opportunity. There's multiple promising new therapies that are currently being evaluated in that trial. I think we'll be adding newer agents to that study, and to really bring some of these new therapies forward faster. I really enjoy spending time with my family, my wife and my daughter, and also my son. We enjoy cooking together and tasting red wine and really enjoying each other's company. One of my greatest passions is exercise, and I'm very very ardent swimmer. So do a lot of swimming, much to my shoulder's dismay.